Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The JonBenet Ramsey case that's unsolved and just sleeps in your head almost every other day. So look, y'all, I'm only going to give you guys my opinion. These are only speculation. I'm not putting any allegations on anybody, but yeah, I've been wanting to get back into this case. So basically my thought here is, and I'm going to say it real quick, and then I'm going to explain why. I feel like Bert hit her in the head. The dad moved her downstairs. The mother helped. And I feel like the mother helped because, you know, she was doing the pageants. And so she doesn't want to take care of someone who's possibly was going to be disabled and, you know, not going to be able to do pageants. So I don't know who put the stick or the paintbrush, you know, where. I can't tell you that, but I feel like it's a cover up with the family. No break-in. Nobody, signs of nothing, just them four in the house and a note. And I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on this case, and I'm gonna play some lives in here too. I'm also gonna play the actual footage of them, the crime scene, cameraman or tech showing the house, and you know, that's just my thought. But it also could be another thought too, that, you know, she urinated in the bed, and the woman Ramsey, because I don't want to say her name, these are all speculations. I'm just going to say woman and man Ramsey, got mad and frustrated, and when she was in the bathroom, possibly pushed her down and she hit her head. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of these live. Here we go.
Police stayed with you all that day and the following day. You felt that you were under their protection because you didn't know where this killer might have been. But it turns out that they were really scrutinizing the two of you, that you were already suspects. Did you have any idea then that you were suspects?
No,
not
at all.
It was reported also, Mr. Ramsey, that shortly after you found your daughter's body, that you called the pilot of your plane to arrange a flight to Atlanta. Is that true?
I did. We had been asked to leave the house. Within minutes of that happening, the police took the house over. We had nowhere to go. Atlanta was our home. We lived in Atlanta for 25 years. That's where our family was. We wanted to go home.
During the day that your child was found, and in the days following, Mr. Ramsey, there were reports from the police that you didn't seem distraught. You weren't sobbing. You seemed stoic. It was said you two rarely talked to each other. To them, this made it look as if you were guilty.
I've heard that, and I find that unbelievable. I've lost two children, and for someone to tell me that I didn't act right, I don't accept.
There is the impression that from day one, the two of you refused to cooperate with the police.
No, that is a media myth. We met with the police on the 26th. We met
talked with them.
And talked with them for hours on the 27th. When they asked us to come to the police station, we said, you know, yeah, we want to keep working with you, but can't you come here? We can't go out. Patsy was in bed. Patsy was barely able to move, and all we asked was they come here. They said, well, no, we have paperwork at the police station we might need to get a hold of.
Okay. On the 27th, a very good friend of yours, Mike Bynum, said to you, I think that you should hire lawyers.
Mike knew things that were going on that we didn't know. He knew that the police, by that time, were withholding JonBenet's body for burial. He also, based on his experience as a prosecutor and as a district attorney, could see that the police were very quickly focusing on us as the killers.
Your lawyers advised you then not to submit to police questions. Why not? People say, wouldn't you have wanted to tell them everything?
Well, I don't recall that our lawyers told us that at the time. We were perfectly willing and anxious to work with the police to find the killer. We had a higher priority at that point, and that was to bury our...
Really? Take a lie detector test. Police never asked you to take a lie detector test? No.
I was asked during my interview with Steve Thomas hypothetical questions. One of the policemen that investigated this murder. He said, if I were to ask you to take a lie detector test, what would you say? I said, I would be offended. That's what I would say. I wasn't interested in proving my innocence at that point. That was a non-issue.
There's a murderer loose.
Mr. Ramsey, would you now take a lie detector
I
test?
would, certainly.
Would you, Mrs. Ramsey?
Yes, I would take a lie detector test.
When you realized that you two were the prime suspects, what did you think? What did you feel? What did you say?
We were outraged. We were shocked. How could they think that?
Mr. Ramsey, the police officer that day, Linda Arndt, said on this very program that when you put your daughter's body down, you looked straight into her eyes.
His face was just inches from mine.
And Linda Arndt said she felt then from your expression that the killer was in the house and she was afraid of you.
Well, the question I would ask Linda Arndt, has she ever looked before in the eyes of a father who has just been told his 6-year-old daughter is dead, lying there on the floor in front of him? I don't know what I'd look like. I'm sure I was in agony. I'm sure I went into shock. Linda Arndt's ability to look in someone's eyes and determine they were a killer is a remarkable talent.
You just can't believe it. I mean, we're suffering from having lost our child. And then for someone to accuse you, it's just, you can't believe that would happen.
Why did they accuse you?
I think the police looked at the situation, didn't apply a lot of logic to it, and said, child murdered in the home. The book says the parents always did it. And that became the conclusion. The tragedy of the police investigation was that it ended on December 26th.
I mean, what do you guys think about that interview, honestly? I mean, does it seem like these are parents that are distraught that their daughter was murdered? I mean, somebody wrote a ransom note and asked for money. But I guess people take things differently. But again, I'm going to follow up on my theory of the wetting the bid. I feel like possibly she wetted the bid. It could be because of past trauma. I'm not going to say SA. I am going to say SA trauma. I just don't know by who. But yeah, she wetted the bid. Mom was tired of putting diapers on her, and she possibly got upset. And that's my theory number 2. But theory number 1 is that Bert was downstairs eating some pineapple. JonBenet was up because John did say he took her directly to bed after they left the party, but possibly she was up eating pineapple and he got upset and hit her in the head with the flashlight. But let's get into this disturbing interview, and let me know what you tell me what you guys think about his demeanor and stuff like that. Here we go.
I think that someone is a very quiet and you pull back against it. You get that hands off. You look back. That's how she done it.
Does he sound like a kid that his sister just passed away? I mean, the kid is smiling, you know, he's happy. He just seems like nothing happened. And that interview was real crazy, y'all, because, you know, he kind of said, I know what happened to her. If you look at the full interview, so it's a lot of questionable things. I always felt kind of like, because he was not neglected, but he didn't get as much attention as JonBenet did. And anybody who has a younger sibling understands that sometimes they do get more attention than others. So, you know, she used to mess with him when he was playing with his train set. It's just weird because his whole attitude and demeanor in that interview just looks suspicious. I'm not saying that, you know, he meant to do it, but I felt like it was just something that was built up. And this is my speculation. This is my part 1 of what I think happened. And I might do a part 2, but of the actual video. But I also feel that Pat Ramsey was on drugs. Your daughter is unalive down in the basement, and the first person who comes is your doctor, and he already has pills ready for you to take for you to go to sleep. Do y'all not find that kind of weird and suspicious? Do you not feel like Pat Ramsey was possibly already on drugs? But she did pass away from cancer, so, you know, I'm not going to knock her for that. But it just seems kind of questionable how the doctor already had. I mean, what doctor carries pills on them? Or those type of pills on them? Because I think that's a benzoid. I mean, it's probably like a Xanax or something. But, I mean, you can see some, you know, in the footage that it just doesn't seem right. So if you guys are new to the case, and you guys can watch the video up top, I'm going to do a little bit of talking, but I'm just going to go over the case for some of you young people who don't remember or never even heard of the JonBenet Ramsey case. So August 6, 1990, Basically, she was an American child who was unalived at the age of 6 in her family home at 755 15th Street in Boulder, Colorado. On the night of December 25th, 1996, her body was found in the house basement about 7 hours after she had been reported missing. She had sustained a fractured skull and a garrote was tied around her neck. The autopsy report stated that JonBenet's official cause of death was asphyxiation and strangulation associated with head trauma. Her death was ruled a homicide, and the case generated worldwide public and media interest. The Boulder police initially suspected a long handwritten ransom note that was reportedly found in the home and had been written by her mother Patsy, and that note and the appearance of JonBenet's body had been staged by Patsy and her husband. Again, I don't know who, we don't know, because if we did, the case would be solved. But you got to be one sick individual to put something into that young girl, and you guys possibly know what I mean, to do that. I do feel like it was staged. There's also another person, his friend. I think his name is White. I'm not too for sure. I feel like he possibly can be involved because 4 people had keys to the Ramsey's house, and he was one of them. And I feel like, in my own opinion, that she's been getting essayed for a minute. This is not something new. They found trauma, in her private area, but I think that was to cover up past trauma because she had scar tissue down there. So that's why I think that person did it. And that's why I think that John Ramsey possibly, it's always the cool collective guys, man, that seem to be the predators out here. And this is all alleged. I'm speculating. That's all I'm saying. Speculation. Don't sue me. Please don't sue me. I don't have any money. The VA don't give me that much money, but I just feel like it was a cover up for past essay. And they know. I feel like John knew if he did it and Patsy didn't know, or if Patsy did it and John didn't know, or Bert did it, they both knew. It just seems weird that your daughter can be taken from her bed and basically beat and then put into a basement, and then the person supposedly writing this note, knowing that your daughter was already unalive. Did you not think that eventually they weren't going to find your daughter? I mean, you have to make it make sense to make it make sense to everybody on. I mean, we're not dumb. I mean, it's like, it's your handwritten notepad that somebody wrote a note on there, knew exactly how much your bonus was. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense, man. And I'm not trying to make jokes, not trying to make light out this situation, because it's a very tragic situation, very tragic. And I feel for the family if they weren't involved, but nobody breaks, there's no sign of break-ins. If you look at the window, there's still cobwebs on the window. The suitcase was probably put there just to throw people off. And then if you guys actually look how you would have to actually get into that window, you would have to open up like a cage little bar thing, jump down in there, and then squeeze your way through that window. I mean, with all that money they had, they couldn't get an alarm system. Let me know, because I do remember Brinks being out for a long time, and in 1996, I'm pretty sure a lot of people had security systems in their home. But I want to say this might not be their primary house, because they did have about 2 or 3 homes in their I want to say their primary residence was in Georgia. I mean, that's where they came from. So it could be, that could be one of the reasons why they don't. But you would think in a multi-million-dollar home that you would have some type of security system. I mean, I live in a $250,000 home, and I have about 37 cameras. I'm not making jokes, y'all. I'm just trying to make everybody open up their mind a little bit. I mean, we all figure. I mean, if you look at any other YouTube videos, everyone is kind of pointing a finger at either Bert, Pat, or John, allegedly. I say allegedly. I would have to be, I don't know. I mean, I want to say I'm gonna have to be dumb and not logical in this case, because it's such an old case. I've listened to so many countless videos of this. I'm saying CNN, this the big networks, YouTube, that it just doesn't make sense. And when the detective said that when John brought JonBenet's body upstairs and he put her on the ground and she looked him in the eyes and she clutched her firearm, she knew right there and then that the killers were in that house. Boy, that got to be a chill feeling. And me, my prior law enforcement, I'm not a detective. I'm not in no crime scene. I'm just like you. I'm an internet sleuth, internet detective. I would be reasonable that how were they allowed to walk around the house? Where was the crime scene tape? Why weren't they basically escorted off the property? And for law enforcement to do their job, it just seems weird. And then it seems that the DA, the assistant DA at the time, was basically working for the defense team. It's just weird. Your daughter is unalive and you fly out of town to Georgia, to Atlanta, Georgia, like 4 hours later. That makes no sense. And then you didn't basically corroborate until 4 months later. Your lawyer was doing all the questioning. Now, if I was a dumb person, which I am, I would be like, yeah, okay, cool. They didn't do it. There's no suspicion that they did it. But since I'm not too dumb, I just don't understand why law enforcement didn't push. They should allow the FBI in there in the beginning. When that FBI agent said that, look at the family. That's the first people you look at as the family. And they didn't even stage it that well. The crime scene it wasn't even like it wasn't even perfect. And they had time. It's no telling how long that baby was down, how long JonBenet was downstairs. All we know is that they left that Christmas party and were home until the 911 call. That's all we know. That baby could have been dead for a long time. And adding on top of the 7 hours when they actually did call the police, call 911. And then there's something, if you listen to the 911 recording, you can hear in the background Pat Ramsey telling John and John telling Burke something. It's not clear. Again, I couldn't, but you can hear something that sounds like that, like, what did you do? What did you do? I don't think Burke Ramsey moved his sister downstairs and did all that. No. But the crazy thing is, if it was an accident and he was 9 years old at the time, in Colorado, the age to be charged with anything would have been 10. And so I don't know if they were thinking like, we already lost one child, we don't want to lose another child. It just doesn't make any sense. This case is gonna last forever until somebody is caught for this crime. The DNA now is probably no DNA in it no more. It's probably been degraded. But it's sickening, and I didn't really want to touch this case again because it's like one of those. I want to say the Chris Watts case, because you just never, even with this case, nobody's been convicted. Nobody's been caught. So I can't say it's like the Chris Watts case. This case really stands alone. But it's sickening, though, that nobody has been arrested for this crime yet, this murder. Nobody's been arrested. All that money, I guess money does make a difference. I guess it can buy you, buy your way out of a conviction. And then they let the parents off the hook. They let them off the hook. Let them off the hook. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not doing any edits in this video. I'm not trying to, make myself sound more educated or let you guys, tell you guys more than what you guys already know, because I know just as much as y'all do. That's it. And I'm not accusing these people of anything, but it's just sad that you have a killer walking around freely, living their life, going to college. Could have been possible because of that bowl of pineapple. And please let me know, who in the heck eats pineapple with milk? If that's not the most nastiest combination of stuff, let me stop. But Rest in peace to this beautiful young girl. And I'm gonna do a part 2 because I want to get into her doing those pageants and stuff. Too young to be wearing that stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Love y'all. Leave a comment and see you in the next video. I'm out.